Good morning and welcome to Deadline Press Agency's run-through of today's top stories. It's Friday, October 16th and I'm Oliver Faramond.
I'm Sean Milne.
And we're going to start off with the tabs today. Looking at the Scottish Daily Mail, they've got a very eye-catching full-picture splash of the daughter of Michael Lockett, who's a sergeant from Glasgow who was killed in Afghanistan.
Yeah, I believe he was the first person to be awarded the Military Cross to die in action over there. And there was a huge turnout for his funeral at the Lynn Cemetery in Glasgow yesterday. And it's a very, very emotive picture indeed.
Moving on to the Daily Record, and their front page today is a 17-year-old girl from the Scots Borders who died of swine flu, and they're the only paper to name her today as Denise Murray.
Yeah, it's a very sad story indeed. Pregnant, they couldn't save her child either. The family are also devastated. Nicola Sturgeon, the Health Minister, broke off from the SNP conference yesterday to urge all pregnant women to consider taking the vaccine, which will be available from later this month, they announced yesterday as well. And it's also coincided with a huge surge in the number of cases. I think it was 12,500 new cases last week alone. So obviously things are getting really bad now. Today's Scottish Daily Express again goes with the death of swine flu mother down on the Borders, and it has a tear-stained picture of the two children from Michael Lockett, the soldier who died over in Afghanistan. Where inside they concentrate on Mitchell Dolphin, the Shane gym coach from Dalkeith out in Lonehead in Midlothian, who was jailed for 3 years yesterday for a 20-year campaign of abuse against young girls in his care, which has quite horrific effects on those people who are now adults. Scottish Daily Mirror today splashes what they call an exclusive about the remaining members of Boyzone who will be singing at the funeral of Stephen Gately tomorrow.
On page 17, an exclusive interview with Stephen Hester, where probably most striking is the fact that he says even his mum thinks his £10 million a year salary is too much. On the front page of today's Scottish Sun, an exclusive about Pete Wishart, who's the SNP MP for Perth and North Perthshire, who apparently tweeted a message just after Gordon Brown read out the list of the fallen in the House of Commons, saying, "Thought it would have been more interesting, yawn!"
Yes, I think there's a number of politicians are learning that while it's great that they're embracing social networking in general, they really need to be taught on how to use it, or more importantly, how not to use it. I mean, it's just a schoolboy error from somebody who should know better.
And in the business section of the Scotsman today, Sainsbury's stock has soared amid rumours that there may be an imminent takeover.
Yes, Peter Ranscombe has come up with a good story saying for the third time in as many years now, Sainsbury's are subject to a possible takeover. They're claiming that it's in fact somebody from the Qatar Investment Authority who is stocking them this time around, valuing the chain at around £7.7 billion, which is a colossal amount. Shares shot up to about 420p a share at one point yesterday, and it'll be curious to see how that rolls out over the next week.
And on the front page of the Herald today, 3 of Scotland's fire services planning to merge in a bid to save money and also improve response times to chemical and terrorist attacks.
A great story on page 3 of today's Herald about a pizza joint in Edinburgh called La Favorita, which has won an AA Rosette for its food, for its atmosphere, for its pizzas, which is the first time a pizzeria in Scotland has ever picked up this award. Front page of today's Daily Telegraph's got a very powerful image indeed. It was of the day WPC Yvonne Fletcher was gunned down outside the Libyan embassy in 1984 down in London. She subsequently died from her injuries and nobody's ever been brought to justice for this. Now, however, it's emerged, according to Christopher Hope and the team at the Telegraph, that 2 years ago evidence was presented to British prosecutors which could have led to 2 Libyan people being arrested and tried for the crime, but nothing's ever happened. Elsewhere in today's Daily Telegraph, Alan Cochrane, the Scottish editor, has been up at Inverness for the SNP annual conference, and he's got a good commentary today, talking not so much about Alex Salmond on the stump as it were, but how they're taking on the surprise rivals of the Lib Dems over education. And he'll be there, I'm sure, over the weekend, and it'll be compelling reading as usual for Mr. Cochrane.
Just briefly, on page 17 of the Times, news that Harrods is going to be selling actual gold bars, and one gold bar will cost you £300,000.
Well, no, that will help Gordon Brown prop up the economy. I don't know, but this is a great story in the Times. I mean, it's actual gold bars they're selling here. They weigh 2 stone, so they're hardly going to be flying off the shelves. But they're expecting investors who are trying to find a home for their savings in these times of turmoil on the financial markets will be snapping them up. But curious enough, in the food hall you can get a cheaper version. It's a chocolate bar for $9.95.
And that's a nice golden egg at the end of the story.
Lovely.
This has been today's roundup of the top stories on the Scottish press on Friday, October 16th. I'm Oliver Faramond.
I'm Sean Milne.
And thanks very much for listening. We'll see you next week.